watching WWE and almost wrestling altogether at one point. Now, I started to watch wrestling around like 2008 up until 2015, 16, somewhere around there. And I actually started to get back into it in rather recent years, like 2 to 3 years ago at this point. Thanks to the part of me finding out about other smaller wrestling indie promotions like Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling, AEW in recent years, or another one that emerged, Lucha Underground. Now, for those who don't understand wrestling lingo, when I refer to a wrestling show, an indie promotion, basically if it's a smaller wrestling show that might not have their matches televised to cable networks like USA or CBS, or might only upload their matches to like their live streaming platforms if they have that one is, or similar platform like they're on YouTube. I just want to explain that really quickly for those who don't understand wrestling lingo. And moving on from that, basically when I was watching WWE, I was only wrestling promotion I did a little at the time, up until recent years. Basically, me and my father would watch almost every single Raw and SmackDown at one point together, and every pay-per-view for the most part for a while. And nowadays, I can't really bring myself to watch the current shows, let alone Raw or SmackDown. Like back in the day, I used to get so excited for WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, the Elimination Chamber, which I'm not sure if they still have anymore. And probably one of the big reasons for that being is due to the fact that they try to shove so much content down your throat, and it overstays its welcome. Due to the part of they have extended the runtime far too long. Like Raw and SmackDown used to prospectively be SmackDown used to be around 2 hours, and then I believe Raw was also 2 hours, and then it switched to 3, and now they're both 4 hours long. And every pay-per-view, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, used to run around like 2 hours and maybe like 45 minutes, somewhere around there. And the only exception to that being would be WrestleMania, which was around 3 hours, but that was to be expected. And they try to shove so much filler content down your throat, and so many boring rematches. Like, I kid you not, I swear, I believe Roman Reigns was the one wrestler, and I believe the other wrestler was Bray Wyatt. And they literally faced each other for quite literally an entire month. It was just that one single match. And basically what they do is just have a slight variation to the match where like one match would have his hand tied behind his back, the other match should be facing him in a fatal 4-way, the other match should be facing him in a tag team match. And it was just boring, and like I don't understand why they even did that, because at one point like they literally had like I believe 150, 160 wrestlers on the roster. So it's not like they even really needed to, at that time, even have to constantly have the same people face one another. And, like, I believe both of us could agree, you the audience and me the viewer, whether you're watching baseball, whether you watch UFC like me from time to time, if you're watching one team face another team or one fighter face another fighter, I believe we could both agree that at some point or another, like, you have to face new people, and there's so many times you can be excited for one person facing the same guy. But moving on from that. Now, moving on to another pet peeve of mine is the fact that they constantly like to break up tag teams. Like, for the amount of teams that have been broken up, there's not really that many that have stayed together for more over than like 2 to 3 years. Like really quickly, I'm just gonna list off some memorable teams, and I'm gonna list off teams nowadays that have actually stayed together for over the year. Like some of the great iconic tag teams that come to my mind when I think of tag teams are like the NWO, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Hulk Hogan, Evolution, Triple H, Batista, Randy Orton, and Ric Flair, the Dudley Boys, Bubba Ray and Devon Dudley, DX, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, X-Pac, Billy Gunn and Jesse James, Road Dogg, the Four Horsemen, Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, and Tully Blanchard, and I can't remember what the last guy's name is off the top of my head. But there's so many great memorable tag teams from the past that I felt like had a lot of chemistry together, not just on the microphone, but also in the matches as well, that I felt were really entertaining. But now moving on to non-tag teams that I felt like are worth mentioning that have actually worthy of being called tag teams that have stayed together for multiple years on end. Unfortunately, there's really only two. The first one is called The New Day, which consists of Biggie, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods, and then the Usos, which consists of Jimmy and Jay Uso. And now, the reason for why most times. Now, the reason for that being is the first reason being is that the creative team has literally just nothing planned for them because, as I mentioned before as well, the WWE just as a whole, not even just the tag team division, also in singles as well, they just have such a bad habit of not really planning anything out for really anybody. They have no real long-term goals other than maybe what a person winning a title, and that's really about it. And what ends up happening 9 times out of 10 is that if a person, like let's say one person is standing around 6'10", and then the other person stands around like 5'6". What happens in that specific occasion is whoever is the taller of the two or three is the person that's the smallest ends up being typically the big guy's punching bag for 2 to 3 weeks, so he looks good and strong, and they try to push that guy as a singles competitor for a title shot most of the time. And what ends up happening is if he even happens to even get close to a title shot, what ends up happening is that he ends up most times losing the match if he happens to even get into one, and then he fades up in obscurity afterwards. Moving off of talking about the tag team division back in the singles division for both the men and women, WWE has a really terrible habit of constantly letting the part-timers overshadow and trample and squash and bury the new young and up-and-coming talent that they're supposed to be help molding and making them and creating them into main event talent superstars. Now, one of the best examples I could give you of that, or two I should say for both the men and women, is Kevin Owens won his first title in like a 25 to 35 minute match, somewhere around there, and he lost his title in his first title defense in a minute against Bill Goldberg. And then for Bianca Belair, which she won her first title in like something like a 25 to 50 minute match. She lost her first title defense as well in a 26-second match against someone that was returning. Now, I don't think I should have to explain that to you why that's terrible, because, you know, like, if you're saying you're trying to manage a team in, like, any sport, tennis, basketball, baseball, football, I shouldn't have to explain to you, like, if you're trying to sit there, you're trying to help mold someone, especially an up-and-coming young talent, like, if you're trying to have them basically be presented at the face of your company, this is the top guy we have to offer, or woman. You know, if you have them just get absolutely steamrolled and buried and they just look absolutely pathetic and you're just sitting there wondering, like, wait, this guy that's supposed to be new, up and young and coming, he just steamrolled our top guy in like almost a minute, maybe not even if that. Like, I shouldn't have to explain why that's awful. Because, like, how are we supposed to view that man or woman as a viable, genuine competition? And it just makes everyone look bad, and it's hard to bounce back from. It's hard to make them look good once again. Furthermore, to add to that, like, if, let's say, the best thing I could compare this to really is, like, let's say someone has 9 Super Bowl rings, and, you know, they get another one, a 10th one. Obviously, that's not really all too helpful to them, and it's not really as amazing, and it's not as helpful, and not as career-changing compared to someone that just won their first Super Bowl ring, because that could literally change how people view them as a player. And I guess that's the last thing I have to say. So hopefully you guys enjoyed me rambling on for however so many minutes. Let me know down in the comment section below if you even watch wrestling nowadays yourself, and if you agree with any of my points that I made. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Show this video to anybody that you know that would like this kind of stuff. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. Turn on post notifications by clicking on the bell icon, and it's the personalized you click on. Also, YouTube doesn't decide what you get from me. And with that out of the way, have yourselves a damn good one. And I'm out of here, guys. Peace.